Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Had to make a couple of last-second little additions there. I tell you, it doesn't matter what I do, how prepared I get. When I go live, sometimes I got to do a couple things at the last second. Anyway, going to cover a lot of things that are going on. I told you there's too much to just do one show today. I had to add one. Also, I have a special guest coming on later in about 10, 15 minutes to talk about this with me, a college football expert. So that'll be fun. But there's so much going on, and Auburn and Alabama. I got some news for you. Ooh, you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you. And I don't think it's accurate. I think this person's wrong. But there's a particular person that made some comments about Alabama and their future. Ooh. It's going to get your dander up, I can promise you. As a matter of fact, I'm a little worried about if you're an Alabama or Auburn fan, and I know I've got some of y'all out there watch. What I'm going to tell you is going to, you know what? Humongous, tell them.
Just walk away.
Yeah, I'm afraid what I'm going to tell you is going to upset you. You know what? I may do that first. We're going to talk about the 16-team playoff. We're going to talk about everything that's going on with the lawsuits for Tennessee. We're worried about Joey Aguilar coming on February 10th. We'll talk a little bit about that. The transfer portal is still open, really. I mean, it's not open for you to go into it, but it's open for you to, if you've already entered, you can go to a team. And there's plenty of teams that are still adding a lot of players. We've got a significant player in Ole Miss. We've got an Alabama guy that played 3 years of professional basketball that's going to be coming back to play my Vols, the guy's got to be 27 years old. What are you doing? Played 3 years of professional basketball. Anyway, so all those things are going on. Whoa, somebody's already sent me a super sticker. I appreciate that, Eric. That's helpful. Yeah, this will be a fun night. Like I said, special guest later this evening. I think you'll enjoy that part of it. We're going to talk all about this. Where do I want to start? Okay. I'm going to probably hit Alabama with this right off the bat because it's brutal. And, I mean, it's not like it's going to change your life or anything in a negative way, but hold on. Let me get this right here. But it's going to upset you a little bit, I'm afraid. Let's see, where is that? Yeah. All right. Let me just go ahead and hit you with it. Let's see. Here it is. If you've not heard about this, Texas Tech billionaire says Alabama is broke. That's this fella here on the right. Said refers to recent comments. He talks about how all the Texas teams will dominate college football despite Alabama's past success. And let's see what else he said here. He said, Alabama and Auburn can't raise the money like the University of Texas Tech and lack booster support like the Texas programs have, and that them being a blue blood is a thing of the past, and they will become also Rands, basically. And he said he believes the financial landscape favors schools from the deep state economies, strong donor bases, and the blue bloods are going to be gone. So it's funny to me how this guy, Texas Tech, we've never had to even think about them till NIL. And then this guy started backing them and spending this money, crazy money. And is he right? Are Auburn and now Auburn does have the Yellowwood guy, but I don't guess Alabama's got a billionaire. Now, I will say this. And let me get rid of that because I don't need that anymore. There are teams out there that have money, but they're not spending it. Tennessee is one of them. Oh, good grief. We have doubled our revenue in the last 3 to 4 years, which is shocking to me that how much money's been taken in by Tennessee. As a matter of fact, I'll show you here. $304 million last year from 154 in 22. So it's gone up 100%. So Tennessee has the money to compete, in the NIL space and to get a quarterback, which, we tried to. We tried to get Sam Levitt. We tried to get Ty Simpson. We attempted to get, who's the other fella that we tried to get? Sorsby. And we didn't have the money to compete with the LSUs and the Texas Tech. Now, granted, we didn't go all in because I still think in the back of Josh Heupel's mind that Joey Aguilar might be available, which would be a really good player to have at a discount compared to those guys. So maybe that has something to do with it. But the truth is, here's why we're not spending it. It's a combination of things. Our AD, athletic director, who, look, I got to give him props for raising that revenue. If you like higher ticket prices and a talent fee, that was his job. So, I can't rip him for it. But Danny Do-Right says we can't break the rules as far as the House settlement. And because we're still on probation from Jeremy Pruitt, which is probably an excuse on some level, because Tennessee has the money, absolutely has the money. And I think that's pretty obvious. They had $15 million extra dollars at the end of that year, which is, I'm actually surprised it's not more. Tells you how much they're spending. But he didn't want to spend any of it on players. So we did okay in the portal, but nothing special. We couldn't compete with the big dogs, even though imagine what $15 million does for you. Let's say you'd have spent $4 million on your basketball team. Well, now you've brought in probably two great players, which we could use right now, in case you hadn't noticed. Could have spent $500,000 on the baseball team, probably still have Tony Vitello if that was the case. I don't know that he goes to San Francisco if he had, because I know he wasn't happy about the NIL situation. Could have spent $10 million on the football team. What would $10 million do for the football team? Any quarterback you could ever want, plus, 2 or 3 defenders. So kind of frustrating that we didn't spend that money, but I understand it. I mean, we are playing by the rules. I'm a rules follower, so it's hard for me to really rip the guy over that. But it's also when you've got Lane Kiffin and Texas Tech and Texas A&M and Miami. Oh, Miami is just – y'all are just awful what you're doing. What you're doing to Duke is so cruel that I almost can't believe it. And the NCAA is not going to do anything. And they should. It should be like this.
I'm just curious. I saw you shuffling your checks with your right hand. Can you do that with both hands?
No.
Can't do it with both hands?
No, sir.
That's how it should be, but it's not. So you've got that going on. I can tell you Alabama. Can you imagine how mad they're going to be down there in Birmingham and Tuscaloosa when they get the news that the Texas Tech guy has told them, you're not relevant anymore? I mean, it's on, folks.
No. Okay. All right. We got served. So now, I guess, it's on.
Yeah, I promise you the Alabama folks are going to go ballistic over that. That just came out in the last 24 hours that he's over there running his jaw. And they're coming off 6 national titles in the last 17 years under Nick Saban. And to have Texas Tech, who was an afterthought, nobody ever thought about them, over there running their jaw about how Alabama's beneath them now. Oh, God. And Auburn, who is already dealing with having to be the little brother of Alabama, how do you think they like that crap? And they've been through a bunch of grief. They had Hugh Freeze and, Hugh Freeze. Bad luck Schleprock. That guy couldn't catch a break. So anyway, got some other things to talk about too. We've got the 16-team playoff decision coming up next 24 hours. And we've got our guy, Tony Petitti, who absolutely refuses to cooperate with the other conferences. All 3 of the conferences, the SEC, Big 12, ACC, are pissed off. I mean, they are not happy with him. They want to go to 16 for a lot of different reasons. And it's super frustrating for him, but Tony refuses to do it. The group of 5 want to do it. Notre Dame wants to do it. They all want to go to 16 games or 16 teams. And it's a lot more money because ESPN will pay more money for the playoff than they're already paying a lot. and each team gets a certain amount of money. Like if you're in the SEC, you get 20 plus million. If you're in the Big 12, you get like 13 million. Well, that'll go up substantially. If you're in one of the ACC or Big 12, you'll get about $3 million more dollars. And if you're in the SEC and Big 10, it's about $5 million more dollars per team, not just if you get in. Okay. If you get in, it'll probably be more. But if you just are in the league, you get that extra money and all the teams can use it. Well, Tony's not going to do it. And that's based on everything we're hearing. Heather Denise predicted that Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, the disagreement will prevent the adoption of the new playoff format. That was a few days ago. I've looked everywhere to see if there's any thing popping on that right now, because, I mean, we're only 24 hours away. Have any of you guys or gals heard of anything that's popping out there as far as a 16-team playoff? Because a lot of times they'll do a trial balloon and kind of float it out there just to calm things down so it doesn't just hit like a thud. But anyway, y'all let me know if you've heard anything, because I look to you guys from the comments. I get all kinds of information in the comment section all the time. So y'all let me know if you know anything in the comments or whatever. Eric says we're staying at 12. That's what I'm hearing, which is unbelievably stupid that Tony Petitti's doing that to his conference. And he's literally, think about it, that's $5 million he's costing each team. And think of the teams that need that. You know, the bottom of the Big Ten is not exactly a Hercules. They can use that money. And he's saying, because he's being stubborn. Why are you being so stubborn? And 4 more teams in means there'll be a good chance a Big Ten team gets into the playoff. Maybe 2. So, you know, all I hear all the time is about how wonderful the SEC is, how wonderful the Big Ten is, and how the SEC is coming back down to earth. And there is some truth to that. Here's how our bowl games went this year. 4-8. So I'm not oblivious to that. So why do you have a problem going to 16? Because you're afraid the SEC will get too many teams in? That didn't make sense to me. So anyway, that's another thing that's popping off right now. So wanted to get up here and talk a lot about this. Again, I'll have a special guest here in a few minutes. We'll talk some more about this. But, man, I want to see this go to 16 teams so bad. I think it would be great for everybody. And it gives let's see here. Y'all don't like Tony either? Not fans? I was okay with him because I thought he did a good job with you folks on the TV contract, which he did. He got y'all some good TV money. And he got it to where it's going to end in 2030 or 31, which is earlier in the SEC. So he did a good job there. But I don't understand his stubbornness on this and costing each team $5 million bucks. And you a better chance of getting in the playoff. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Wouldn't he be concerned about the middle of the Big Ten too? You know, here's the thing. The top of the Big Ten teams are going to get in. All right. Ohio State, Oregon, those type of teams. Who else? I don't know about Penn State right now, but y'all are going to get your top teams in. I'm leaving somebody out. Who am I leaving out? I'm having a brain fart. But anyway, you're going to get your top in. But, I mean, how about the middle? You know, it's a little frustrating, I would think. How about an Illinois? You know, they probably like to get in the playoff occasionally. And he's not only cost them that chance, $5 million is nothing to sneeze at each year. You know, it's every year. So, yeah, I tell you what. Yeah, Michigan. Look, if they would just get Connor Stallions back, Michigan would have no trouble. I mean, seriously, they'd be fine. I'm sure I would like to occasionally get into the playoff. It doesn't have to always be Ohio State and Oregon. You know, there are other teams in the Big Ten that would probably like to have fun too. And all he's got to do is just agree with every other conference. Every conference wants to do it. Every Big 5, ACC, Big 12, SEC, everybody wants to. And he's going, no, I won't do it. Oh, you're ticking me off, dude. Oh, yeah, Indiana. They just won the Natty. What am I doing forgetting about this? Because I'm not used to having them around. I need to do something for here. Let me do something.
What's the matter with you?
I'll make it.
All right. Buddy, get the ball to Jimmy, top of the key. Lester, just spread the floor. Let's go.
So anyway, I had to do something for Indiana. That's I can't believe I forgot about them. They're a big dog now. They've got a billionaire backer, Mark Cuban, and it's playing right for them. I gotta say it. So anyway, just so much going on. We're gonna find out about the Darian kid from Duke. That's really bothers me. The Darian Mensah thing is really bothering me. I like Duke, and Duke's been a good football team the last several years. And to have Miami just waltz in there and bully the crap out of them and take their quarterback like that, that runs all over me, folks. That really does. You know, I mean, who the hell do you think you are, Miami? Seriously. I mean, there's rude, and then there's absurd rude. Okay? Not only is this ethically wrong to do this, I don't give a damn whether you can get away with it or not. Yeah, you might be able to get away with it with enough money. Doesn't make it right. And we've got to get something right in football. You know, I know the NCAA is falling apart. So is this. The College Sports Commission is such a bunch of nonsense. That was just a false front for the NCAA, so their name wouldn't get run through the mud some more because they're sick of it, because you've got a bunch of prideful people up there at the NCAA are used to getting their butts kissed. But, yeah, it's starting to annoy me to no end. So anyway, it's just very frustrating. Let me see what y'all are saying about all this and see if anybody's heard anything. Y'all had any moments or heard anything about the 16-team deal? Anything at all? Nothing? Sending a message to my guest. See where he's at. But anyway, I'm telling you, I'm not feeling, the 24, the 24 would get you more money, but it's going to kill your regular season. Okay. And nobody wants it. You're going from 12 teams to 24. That's a huge jump. To go from 12 to 16, why not do that for a year or two and see how it goes? That's what we did going from 4 to 12. Why not say, okay, we see we've got a problem with 12, which we do, and that's pretty obvious. Go to the 16, see how that goes, and then make a decision after that, and let the majority decide. That's the big mistake, was giving two people, which is Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, ultimate power and the ability to block. That's super frustrating to me, that they can block anything they want. It's irritating. So I'm so frustrated by that. Let's see, deciding. Well, yeah, the courts are going to decide a couple things, that's for sure, because we haven't gone to collective bargaining. So that's a big part of what's going to happen with not only the quarterback, which, man, Miami. I think Miami's going to get to do what they want. I really do. And I think it's terrible to be able to go in at the last second and take somebody's quarterback, and the transfer portal's closed now, so nobody else can enter that isn't already in there. And now they've got to pull from the scrap heap, basically, is wrong. Duke did everything right. They did their homework. They studied. They're ready for the test. And then Miami says, oh, well, you took the test. I'm going to take that and put my name on it. And here, you can have mine. You can have mine. Well, I don't want yours because you didn't study and you're probably going to make a D. You're not prepared for this test. Well, I know. That's why I'm giving you this and I'm taking yours and I'll get the A. I don't like that. I don't like it. Yeah, Duke won the ACC. Yeah, they did. I mean, it was a weird way to win it. At what, 7 and what were they, 7 and 5? Something like that. So, yeah, I'm for the 16. Yeah, we got a deadline tomorrow. They did extend it till tomorrow. Remember, it was in December, and we were going to have that NCAA. They won't. Desert, they won't. They're not going to do anything to them. That's why, well, like I said, this is the type of thing that'll probably force us to go to collective bargaining, almost certainly. Let's see. My guest is coming on. All right. Special guest. This is TJ from College Football Addiction. I'm going to pop him on here in just a second. Are you ready, TJ? You can just give me a thumbs up. Okay. All right, folks. I told you I was having a special guest. This is somebody that will understand what's going on really well because he covers this type of thing. And let's pull you up here, TJ. We've been talking about the 16-team playoff, the Miami and Duke situation, and some other things that we'll talk about. But what do you think is going to happen with the 16-team?
My gut is that they leave it at 12. Like, we get an announcement that they leave it at 12. Like, I think that Tony's going to – now, I hope I'm wrong about this because I think it'd be good to leave it – well, I got a bunch of thoughts here, so maybe I'll just shut up and stop rambling. But I think it'd be good to leave it at 12 for a couple of years and just see how that works out. Like, just changing this idea of going, well, 2 years at 12, and then Tony wants to go 2 years at 16 and then go to 24. Like, can we just leave it? I mean, we got a good sample size with 4, right? Was it 10 or 11 years? And then how many
times? For a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be fine to go with 12 for 3 or 4 more years. Get 5 years of this under your belt. So you really have a good data. Like this year, I think we could say, yeah, man, Vandy deserved a shot and Texas deserved a shot. Notre Dame, BYU, these teams should have been it. But like next year, we might get to the end of next year and like the 9 through 12 seeds might be terrible. Like they all might get blown out and then all the teams behind them might have 3 losses. This was a pretty parity-filled year. So I would be fine with them leaving at 12. But this idea of going 2 years 12, 2 years 16, 2 years 24. Who knows where they'll take it from there. But my gut says that they're going to leave it at 12 because Tony won't agree. Like they won't agree to this 24 thing, which I think 24 is a disaster. So I think they're going to come out and say that they're leaving at 12 through this year and then they'll decide something next year. I don't know. It's just my gut. Nobody's telling me that. Nobody's inside info. That's just where I think it's going to happen.
You probably represent a lot of people because there's a lot of people that don't like all these changes and would like things to steady down. Now, I know you liked it when it was 2, and there's plenty of traditionalists out there that feel that way. I have always been 16. I don't know why. There's something about that number, probably because it mathematically works so well, and you get the 8 home games, which I think would be financial booms for their markets. You know, the Knoxvilles, the Oxfords, for you guys down there in Florida. I mean, y'all have got as good a chance as getting in the playoff as anybody because, I mean, you can go from winning 5 games one year to winning 13 the next and then 2. You never know what Florida State's going to do, but there's something about 16 that just works for me. But I respect the people that disagree with that and want to go back to 4. There's plenty of them.
I'll tell you this. I like 16 way more than 12. Now, as much as I'm saying like, well, can we see how 12 works for 4 or 5 years before we change it? That's more so of as just – why are we changing from 12? What I like more about 16 than 12 is the home games. Like it's ridiculous that Miami was a 10 seed, so they wouldn't have one anyway. But Indiana didn't get a home game through this whole playoff. The greatest, like those folks deserved a home game, right?
They would have gone nuts.
Same thing with Texas Tech. And I mean, folks in Athens have never had a home game, right? As good as Georgia's been. Ohio State got one last year, but didn't get one this year. So I don't know. I think I hate the buys. I think buys are stupid. There's no reason, Texas Tech, Ohio State, Indiana, and Georgia took 25 days off between their conference championship games until when they played. That's ridiculous. There's no way you should be taking a month off when there's this many games and this much to be done, and we should be playing championships on MLK Day. So 16 makes way more sense to me than 12. And I think 16 would be a good landing spot, but your buddy doesn't want to stay at 16. So it probably ain't happening.
Tony, I tell you, I'm not a fan of many commissioners. That's become pretty obvious. Greg Sankey's made me mad because he could have used the 9 games to get the 16 easily, but he just he just went to 9 games and didn't negotiate a thing. So
No.
that really frustrated me. You know, when you're going to negotiate something, you don't throw all your chips in before you deal the cards. You need to know what you're doing. So Sankey just really wanted to go to 9 games really bad. Now I got to hit you with something that you may be aware of, you may not have. And I talked about this in the first of the show. The billionaire from Texas Tech has been talking smack about Alabama and Auburn and pretty much said they're finished being blue bloods. We're the blue bloods now in Texas because we got the money, and you don't have the boosters, you don't have the backers, and you're not going to be able to compete in the transfer portal the way we can. So get used to, you know, being in the upper bleachers while we're down in the box seats because we're taking over. And he said it, and I was like, holy crap. Can you imagine what Alabama's thinking right now, hearing that?
Well, I mean, there's one thing you don't want to do is poke a bear, right? And so if Alabama and Auburn are still bears and they're not just little cubs, they'll raise the money to do this. I mean, you think about, I understand that the SEC had a lot of advantages and it was, you know, NIL before NIL. They've joked with Saban about that, right, on game day and all that. But like, there ain't nobody at Alabama or Auburn that has Texas Tech type money. But there are certainly people at Auburn and Alabama and a lot of SEC programs that can kind of match what is going on down there. Now, would that make the Texas Techs and the A&Ms and the Texases of the world, the Oregons and Miamis, would that make them give even more? Probably, to where it's just like a never-ending contest. But there's no doubt that people at Alabama can do that. I just think that they understand that they didn't have to do that for 20 years of the Saban dynasty. And so why would we do it now? Also, like, if you're Texas Tech and you've never won anything, right, you're motivated to go sign those big time checks to go and win, right? And go get it done. If you're Miami and you haven't been relevant for 2 decades, that's why all those tech billionaires down there are donating money, because they want to get back to that. If you're Alabama and you've just won 6 or 7 titles in the last 2 decades, how motivated are you to really come? I mean, like, have you not had enough, right? Are you that desperate in your soul to go sign those massive checks to pay these players when you just did it for 2 decades and you didn't have to do it? Like, I wouldn't be Florida State has won. If I had this kind of money, we've won 7 games in 2 years. Yeah. If I had this money, I'd be giving it away. I'd be signing it right now to get us out of this hellhole that we're in. But if you're Bama, like, do you even feel the pain that much? Because you're still going to the playoff every year. You're still winning 10 games every year. And so I don't think the pressure is on Alabama. Now, it's on DeBoer because their fan base still has expectations, but I don't think their fans feel that pain. They were just winning like half a decade ago. They're not hurting like the rest of college, like Texas Tech and A&M and Texas, that hasn't been relevant in how many years. And so, I mean, I don't even know if maybe it doesn't even bother the Bama fans. They're like, we've won enough here recently. We don't care.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about Miami? Now, you're an ACC guy. I know your team's there. Well, for now, you're an ACC guy. You probably end up being a SEC or Big Ten at some point. What do you think of Miami going into last second in the transfer portal and saying, hey, Duke, we're going to take your lunch money and your lunch, and we're going to take your quarterback from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And plus we're going to do it the last second of the portal, so you're going to get the scrap heap, but we'll give you some money. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with Miami right now. I don't know how does college football exist if you can just waltz in and take somebody's quarterback who's under contract?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know this. I don't like Miami. And do I think like morally, ethically, like it's the right thing to do? I mean, I don't know. To me, it's, if there are no guardrails, like if the adults aren't the adults in the room, then if you're Miami, you take every chance you can to go out and not finish second in the country next year, right? Like you do anything and everything you can. I mean, to take it back to Alabama, I know it's not apples to apples, but like, did they feel bad about taking Kalen DeBoer after signing day had already happened, after the portal had already happened, after all that had already, like, they wouldn't took a coach that was under contract. And so I don't know, man, like, until we put some guardrails on this thing, I'm not the least bit surprised. I'm not the least bit surprised that it was Miami that did it. They were heavy in it for Sam Leavitt, and LSU ended up winning that battle out. And but how much different is it than, LSU stealing Lane Kiffin in the middle of a playoff round? Like, to me, it's just, I'm not trying to excuse Miami doing it. I'm not trying to say like that it's okay, because no, I do hate it for college football. But to me, like, that's just the whole state of our sport right now. There are no rules. There are no guardrails. It's all me. Take what you can get. Guys are transferring 4 and 5 times in a career, and everybody's looking out for themselves. Miami's looking out for themselves. Mensah is obviously looking out for himself. Like, not only is he going to get more money at Miami, he's probably going to be in a better situation, win more games, be drafted higher. Like, even if you took the NIL out of it, this would be a good move for him, most likely for his career. Miami's going to put back-to-back first-round quarterbacks out. This will probably be their 3rd one in a row. So, I mean, I don't blame him. Honestly, I don't blame Miami for doing what's best for them. I kind of blame the state of college football that this is even a possibility right now. It does suck for Duke, but at the same time, how many kids has Duke flipped on signing day on their basketball team, stealing five? Like, they do the same thing, just in a different sport. So I don't know. I mean, it does suck for them. I don't know how many Duke football fans really exist, but yeah, it's brutal for them and it leaves them in an absolute mess. But until we fix the sport, this ain't gonna be the last time it happens.
Let me tell you what Tennessee's dealing with right now. Of course, we didn't get the quarterback. We tried. We didn't spend the money. And then we didn't realize what had happened last year at Tennessee. I knew that our revenue was going up, and it's been going up. Look, it's going up because we're increasing ticket prices. We're charging a talent fee, which has been controversial, talent tax, whatever you want to call it. But the revenue did this. All right. It went from 154 million to 304 million last year, which is insane. I mean, that's 0.3 billion in revenue. And I'm shocked that we spent darn near all of it. We had a $15 million surplus. So it wasn't like we had a deficit. It's easy to spend that money, especially up there in the athletic department. But anyway, we're not spending it because our athletic director says, hey, the house settlement, we can only spend this amount of money. And of course, we're competing against teams that are spending whatever the crap they want. We went against LSU to try to get a quarterback. We went against Texas Tech. And there's all these teams that are spending. And we're sitting here with the money. And our athletic director, his name's Danny White, but I've named him Danny Do Right because that's who he is. Yeah. And it's a lot of our fan base is very split because some of us like the fact that he's following the rules. I mean, that's what we agreed to. But you're also getting lapped, and you can't get the quarterbacks. You can't get the big-time players. So
ours is doing the same thing, and our fan base feels this. Michael Alford at FSU, he's done a lot of things really well, but he has been a very staunch believer in, hey, the cap is the cap, and we were told we can spend this, and we're looking at Miami and saying, well, buddy, they ain't staying under the cap. Look at them right now. Look what they're doing. Look how much they're going to have to pay just for the quarterback. That's half the team's salary.
It's $10 million.
Yeah, like that, and we're paying 18 for the whole athletic department. Yeah. So yeah, man, we're in the same boat, and we're saying, okay, you're. I get it, right? Like, there are these rules, but why are we following unenforceable rules? Like, there are rules, but none of them are being enforced. And so why are we playing this rules game of following it? How many losing seasons can we have? Because it will trickle into everything. If you can't pay your football players, then your basketball lacks, and then your baseball lacks. And then how many losing seasons are we going to have? And how far behind are we? Like, Florida ain't playing this cap game. There's no doubt that they're paying above the cap. And certainly Miami's not paying it. And so how long are we going to go where we're getting lapped by the rest of college football and other teams are catching up and passing us? Because we never used to have to worry about, Vandy or South Carolina or Indiana or Texas Tech. Like, those weren't programs, even A&M, who had tons of money. Never had to worry about them 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. We do now. And so, boy, there's a lot of haves and have-nots, and to put imaginary handcuffs on yourself and follow rules that nobody's enforcing is a wild strategy, but apparently some ADs think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it feels like we're going to collective bargaining here pretty soon, and this will probably push us that way. I don't want to keep you any longer. You've been on for almost 20 minutes. I'm going to end the show here in a second, but I appreciate you coming on. I don't do a lot of live, but I've been getting a lot of requests for it, so I thought, this would be cool. Bring an expert in here to talk with me about it, because I know you stay on top of it. So I want to thank TJ for coming on tonight, and hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. And be sure to check out TJ at College Football Addiction. And gosh, you've got an SEC show now, and also your Florida State show, right?
Yeah, just trying to split it. We're doing a lot of stuff on the College Football Addiction, so just trying to split it up by channel. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna have you on tonight is SEC Football Addiction, so people can check that out if they want to.
Okay. Yeah, be sure to check out TJ's show. I'm going to come on as a guest. What are you going to launch it tomorrow?
Yeah, be on tomorrow morning.
Okay, cool beans. Yeah, everybody check that out tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for TJ, and I appreciate y'all showing up, and we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.